Stephen Mansfield, New York Times bestselling author and speaker.
Doug Tenaple, I'm the creator of Earthworm Jim.
Tweet Groups.
I'm Victor Dweck.
Joseph Carter, I'm the Mink Man.
This is Dave Baker from Forged in Fire.
This is Leanne Morgan. I'm a comedian, and this is why you should never
Don't ever
Not ever.
Don't waste your time.
Oh, you really should.
listen to those darling, yummy Reverend and the Reprobate.
Completely unusable, but we'll start with a laugh. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Reverend and the Reprobate. Thanks once again for joining us. I'm Lucas Pinkert. I am an actual pastor. With me, as always,
I'm Jailbait. Dan Gibson, the Reprobate.
Is my friend Danley. Today we've got a special treat for you guys. We've got a comedian on, and he actually, he got on the show. We found out about him. I don't know what the right way is to phrase this. We're still so new at this.
We reached out to him.
We reached out to him because of one of our previous guests, Jeremy Nunez.
Said, hey, he was my mentor. He's the funniest guy I know. You got to reach out to him.
And he did not disappoint. Now, one of the things
awesome.
about David that's so interesting is he bills himself as America's clean comedian. So he does faith comedy, he does clean comedy, but that is, and for him, a lot of people would be like, "Oh, that's your shtick."
He does Lionel Richie comedy.
Yeah, which is really interesting, but that's not his shtick. That is how he lives his life.
Yeah.
We get into some really cool stuff. We hear about his testimony. We hear about him playing basketball against Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
There's
that was awesome.
Tons of
meeting
stuff.
Katt Williams.
Yeah, tons of stuff about his comedic career and the ups and downs of it. And man, it's just, this was a whirlwind interview. It's an absolute pleasure to get to talk to David Graham. We hope that you enjoy it.
Let's bring him on. Remember to like and subscribe and smash the bell icon. And go to our website and submit your email address to follow us.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Reverend and the Reprobate. Get to interview folks. We have with us the mentor of our guest from a few weeks ago. The wonderful, the talented Jeremy Nunez said, "There is nobody in the world that's funnier to me than David Graham, America's clean comic." David, thanks for joining us today, man.
Virtuallyfunny.live.
Is it .live or is it .live?
Thank you, guys. I can't see you guys.
We can see how that might pose a problem.
Hello. It looks like you guys are white. No, I'm sorry. That's the paper. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hey, how you doing, guys?
We're fantastic, man. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm as blessed as a man could be. I tell you, if I'd be more blessed, I'd be twins.
Wow. I think it'd be scary to
why
have a
not
twin.
triplets?
Well, I'm already
why stop
big.
there?
I'm 300 pounds, man. So that's enough of me.
So you have talked a little bit about your athletic career and your comedy. And being 6'5", my assumption is that you were either an offensive tackle or a basketball player.
No, I was the laundry guy. I
well done.
The laundry. I could do it all in one trip. That's why they got me and gave me a scholarship. But no, actually, I played basketball at Connor State Junior College.
Okay.
And I got a lot of offers to go play 4-year ball. And then I ended up playing at Oklahoma Baptist University, where I was the president of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
That's awesome. So how do you end up from college athlete, working with the FCA, and then moving into a career in comedy?
I'm what you would call an idiot.
Oh, well done.
Me too.
Yeah, you fit in great. You're in great
I'm
company.
one of those guys, man, who would always find the funny part of any situation. True story, 4th grade, I'm 10 years old, and my teacher, I'm in the back of the class with my best friend, Kirk McDonald, right? We're back to having a good time, 10-year-old, you know. So she comes, she goes, okay, Mr. Funny Man, you want to talk so much, let's see you stand up in front of the whole class and use the word geometry in a sentence.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I stand up, 10 years old, and I go, I once planted a seed. And it grew and grew and grew till one day it said, gee, I'm a tree.
The first joke.
So my mom, 10 minutes later, is walking into the class.
Oh, man.
I go principal's office.
Unrelated?
Comes into the class, 10 minutes. My mom beat me down in the class.
Oh, my gosh.
No lie. Absolute true story. I see the stupid stuff in any and everything. I saw a lady on the side of the road about 10 years ago, and her car was just she had the hood up, just smoke coming out. And I'm like, oh man, poor thing. And she was under the hood. And I'm like, oh, poor thing. And she came out and she just wasn't attractive at all. And I'm like, that's why the car won't start. The car wants nothing to do with her. That's what's but praise God, I've been blessed to have a sense of humor through anything, especially what we're going through right now.
Dude,
you
have to have a sense of humor.
What the world is going through right now, this is a worldwide altar call to me.
Yeah, no doubt.
This is something where God is speaking, and we need to really, really pay attention. So that's why I'm excited about what you guys are doing and what we're about. And the way that I bring comedy is 100% clean. I can't see myself spitting in God's face as good as he's been to me. So that's the way I do it.
So
do it.
Well, that's great, man.
Yeah, marketing yourself as a clean comedian, I feel like puts, we started out playing music together. That's how our friendship started. And we knew immediately once we started to tell people.
He played bass guitar for me.
Yeah. So immediately. Yeah,
I'm a bass
dude.
man too.
Come on, baby. So when we started telling people that we were Christians that played in a band and got the label of Christian band, doors to clubs started to shut. Opportunities to go and to talk with certain record labels and things like that were completely closed off once we got that label. Marketing yourself as a clean comic and as a Christian, what has that meant for your career, and how do you think that that's shaped your career path so far?
Well, you got to have faith in whatever you do. And in this business, in show business, you have to have a thick skin at the same time. And the word says, if you are persecuted for my sake, then you will be blessed. So I know that when you guys decided to do that and doors began to close, you're doing the right thing. You were doing the right thing because you were setting yourself apart. In comedy, what I'm doing is seems so rare, and people don't think that clean comedy is funny. Okay, just come to one of my shows or go to virtuallyfunny.live, and you can get David Graham right from Comedy Central. You can get me right in your living room for just what it would cost to feed a family of 6. So I'm gonna do a family show. I'm gonna do it about your uncles, your cousins, siblings, and you guys can all enjoy it while sitting right there, specifically tailored to you. I've been able to do some other things in my comedy that is kind of an attraction for people. When I sing, I do a Temptations review where I do all 4 parts of the harmony all by myself, a cappella. I do Michael Jackson's voice. I do it as a grown man.
I was going to ask clarification.
Younger and younger and younger.
Is this?
So,
do you do the
back to Got to Be There with the Jackson 5, and people are like, "Oh my goodness, you can sing that high?" I had a buddy of mine said, "Man, singing that high, you better not ever go to jail."
Yeah, good call.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so a little bit of a callback because I want to follow up on something you said, but you had said, the uphill battle that clean comics face. I will be the first one to admit, he had mentioned, I don't know, 6 months ago maybe, to check out Dry Bar Comedy, some of the clean comedians that come through. I was like, I don't want to, they're not funny. I was wrong because now that we've kind of started, we've had a bunch of really cool guests on like yourself. I was wrong. Clean comedy can definitely be hysterical, and I actually enjoy it a little bit more. One of my favorite podcasts, I'm not going to throw bows here, but one of my favorite podcasts is the Two Bears One Cave podcast. It's Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer, hysterical comedians, but they wade into some territory that I go, okay, it's a little much, it's a little icky.
Yeah, it's nice to have somebody that you can listen to with your wife, with your kids, somebody that if I reference their material to my congregation, hey, there's a great joke this week, yada yada, where I'm not like, this is not safe for work, like you can't watch it with your family, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm not even going to tell them about it. I'm not even going to promote it. Your comedy is totally different, as are the people that you've mentored, like Jeremy Nunez and people like that. So now being a comedian that is a mentor, When did you first realize that now you're an older comic? That was Jeremy.
What are you trying to say?
You're old.
No.
This has been nice. Thank you,
Yeah,
guys. Take care. All
No.
right. Good night,
So
everybody.
you've kind of pioneered some of this
I
stuff.
realized that probably 20 years ago why I'm here.
Right.
And not simply why I'm here for comedy, but why I'm here in general.
Sure.
One reason I answered the call to preach. Another reason that I never, ever, ever, even before I was called to preach, I never used profanity on stage.
Yeah.
I would never, ever use profanity on stage. I usually save that for home.
I was curious.
I have a thing where people have said to me that even Chris Rock told me, he said, man, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. There's very few people. In fact, the only person that's doing all the things that you do on stage is Jamie Foxx, and you do it clean because I do impressions. Like I say, I sing. I'm the #1 Lionel Richie tribute singer in the country. I've got a whole band of background singers, but I was working with a guy. I was opening for a guy in 2003, and this club in comedy club in Wisconsin, they put us in a condo. He had a room and a bathroom. I had a room and a bathroom, and we're getting ready for the show. And I'm in there shaving, but I'm singing. I'm singing while I'm shaving. And he's like, man, is that you singing? I said, yeah. He said, you don't do that in your show? I said, well, no. He said, man, you start doing that, you will become a national headliner immediately. Right. So I started doing it. Probably 6 months later, I'm headlining coast to coast.
Wow.
Everywhere. So I've never had fear. I've never thought that I had to compromise myself. I'm one of the headliners for the Norwegian cruise fleet, and they have what they call late shows or 18 and over shows. Mm-hmm. I don't compromise with myself. I will go in there and I will do what I do without profanity, without the things that some people would want to see. And we still have a good time, especially when you talk about life stuff you can be a real healer and an encourager, because I have the only job in the world where you can say anything.
Yeah.
Where it's literally okay to say anything. I don't take advantage of that but you can be an encourager. Like now, I do a lot of Zoom shows, and that's why I wanted to go into virtually funny .live.
Right.
Wanted to let people know that you don't have to go and go and listen to a comic and try to pick out some of the clean stuff. Some of the comics I look at it this way. It's kind of like eating your favorite ice cream with walnuts in it, but you love the ice cream and you're allergic to the walnuts. So you get what you love, but you get a lot of what you really can't tolerate in your spirit. Yeah. So I'm one of those guys. It's like, let's go. Let's put the pedal to the metal and take this down Clean Comedy Avenue as fast as we can possibly go. Like, for example, of encouraging, people are going through quarantine depression. They're going through so many different things, and I just talk about, the fact that this quarantine, this thing has changed everything. I got to talk to my doctor on video chat. It's like he took my prostate out over the phone. And he's a dentist.
Yeah, you got to get
out by a long shot. You just talk about different things that apply to people's lives. Like my wife snores like a werewolf. Okay. Yeah. And sometimes I have to turn the light on to make sure I'm not married to Shaq. And the thing is, she's got all the snores down. She can do every snore. I mean, every snore, like the werewolf, like.
Yeah, it sounds a little more Chewbacca-y.
The dragon.
The audio cut out, but the video is hysterical still.
Right. And then this one, I don't even have a word or a name for this type of snore. This one.
Yeah. Nasty.
I don't even know what that is, but it's the reason I've been in counseling for 12 years.
So
things that appeal to regular life, things that you go through that you could take a comedic look at, that drives me. And if I can keep that clean, man, I've honored God. I've honored the people that raised me, and I'm not offending anybody, and I'm not killing my witness.
that's awesome.
That's
Yeah, we have a couple really good drops so far from this.
yeah. I think that's an
Not
incredible
the
thing
snoring
to do.
part.
Yeah, I think that's an incredible thing to do, and it's one of the things that as Christians that we're supposed to be promoting and talking about is how do we do what we do, living our day-to-day life, or working within our occupations, and then not killing our witness at the same time. It almost seems in a lot of lines of work that's counterintuitive, and the way that you've been able to pull it off. I mean, there's a reason that
kudos.
but there's a reason you have so many people that look up to you for that.
But speaking of which, does Jeremy Nunes look up to you, or are you taller than he is?
Jeremy is about an inch taller than I am. And
So you look up to him, technically.
He's one of those guys. I have to tell him that if he starts looking down at me, I'm going to feel bad. So I mean, I'm 6'5", he's 6'6". Jeremy may even be 6'7".
Good grief.
He's lost some hair, so I think he's back down to 6'6".
That's what happens.
Well, you're getting closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get into the Lionel Richie stuff, because I'm curious. I'm curious how you when you started doing impressions. So you when you were singing in your shaving, were you singing Lionel Richie or just singing something else?
I don't know. I was probably singing. I could have been singing anything at that time, because I sing anything that comes into my mind and my heart. My father was he was an incredible baritone, right? So my father would sing only when he's doing housework. When he would always, like, he's washing the dishes and he would sing, And one time he sang 3 Times a Lady at breakfast across the table from my mother. And I was a junior in high school. I never will forget that. I was like, oh my goodness. So that guy sang all the time, and he just sang what came to his mind. So it's no telling what I was singing at the time. But when I do the bit I do is called Old School. And I walk into the crowd. I walk out into the crowd. I might take my jacket off, like one of those old 70s singers, right?
Oh, yeah.
I walk out into the crowd like Tom Jones or somebody, and I start singing to a lady, and people react. And usually I'll start singing like Hello from Lionel Richie. I'll get back on the stage and I'll say, oh, that's not old school either, right? And I'll say, I want old school. And I get the audience clapping, and then I'll go into some, can turn a gray sky blue. I can make it rain whenever I want it to. Oh, I can build a castle from a single grain of sand. I could make a ship sail on dry land. And then I will take the microphone and throw it down like James Brown and catch it with my foot and bring it back up. And it's really kind of cool for the audience.
Solid move.
Oh, man.
And I would get people after, no matter what city I was in, they would say, that first part sounded exactly like Lionel Richie. Oh my goodness, are you serious with that? And I'm like, wow. And after about 20 cities, I'm like, well, man, maybe I should do something. Then I got an assignment to do comedy for a church here in St. Louis. And there was a band that was playing, opening up. And they came and approached me. They said, man, we'd like to do something with you if you want to do something. I said, well, yeah, maybe. And I wasn't really pursuing the music.
Hee.
That was really bad.
Yeah, it was.
So I decided that I wasn't going to pursue any music at that time, but that was 2011, and a huge tornado hit Joplin, Missouri at that time.
I remember this.
Decimated the city, and God told me to use your gift to help out. So I partnered with the Salvation Army, and we decided to do something called Stand Up for Joplin. And we decided that we were going to give the proceeds, all of it, completely to the city of Joplin, and they could just put it where it hurts. So we ended up in one night getting about $6,200, and don't know where it went or how it was used, but it was a blessing. I was on a local television show promoting that, and one of the members of that band from the church saw me and called me, "Hey, would you like to have a band playing while your audience is walking in before the show?" I'm like, that'd be great. That's where the relationship started with the band, with this band, and they were just called Sound Judgment.
Okay.
And it was just a wonderful opportunity to really meet with them. Now, before the show started, they were doing sound check, and I walked up and I said to the bass player, I said, hey, man, can I see your bass for a minute? And I started hitting, I've been playing bass for as long as you guys have been alive. So I started just hitting some runs on the bass, and they said, that is crazy, that is fantastic. And we just had a friendship. My last comedy club that I did in 2012 was in Jacksonville, Florida. I headlined the Comedy Zone. And I'm driving back to St. Louis. It's about a 320-hour drive. I'm coming back from St. Louis, and God starts talking to me. He said, utilize every gift put forth. And I said, well, what does this mean? So that week, people were saying, man, you sound like Lionel Richie. That sounds good. I said, maybe I could do a Lionel Richie show, and maybe my guys in the band. So I called the keyboard player, female keyboard player, and I got her voicemail. So I sang a couple of bars of Still from Lionel Richie.
Yeah.
She called me like an hour later, and she goes, David Graham, don't you ever leave that kind of message on my answering machine. My friends lost their minds when they heard you sing that. She said, by all means, we should do it. So we put the show together called the Lionel Richie Experience, and we put it together, and it's been extremely popular around the Midwest. We had an offer to go to Honolulu, but the band members couldn't make that happen. They couldn't.
We can do it.
Yeah.
You guys are ready?
We're
ready.
Available?
Yeah.
So-
I'll go meet Tulsi Gabbard.
yeah, she's awesome. So the Lionel Richie Experience. Have you thought of making it an in-depth roundabout experience by including your wife in it, where she can come out mid-show and do her impression of Brenda Harvey and smack you around a little bit?
You remember hard copy back in the day, don't you? Okay, all right.
No, I just Googled it.
No, actually, that happens on the daily.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to have a show for that to happen.
Yeah, there's no.
Our
there's
wives must talk
no-
then, because we get similar treatment from our wives, so they must all be reading the same books.
My wife is amazing.
That's what she tells you to say.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good move. That's a good move.
So I am curious. Do you have an improv background? Did you start doing any of that before getting into comedy? You just jumped right into comedy in fourth grade.
No. What got me involved in even thinking of comedy was Flip Wilson.
Okay, yeah.
Back in the day, Dick Gregory, Richard Pryor, and just those guys. And I remember seeing Flip Wilson going, that guy looks like he's having a ball up there. That looks just like fun. And it was right around the time I did the whole geometry thing in the fourth grade. So I was like, that looks like fun. So no, I just went. It was in 1992. I'm dating myself. I was 9 years old. So I went on stage.
He was dating himself for about 30 years.
Yeah, then.
So I went to the Funny Bone here in town, and I did this thing first of all from my office. I was a manager at Southwestern Bell Telephone at the time before it became AT&T, and I wrote out this thing because the office morale was really low, and I wrote out this thing. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and I put a comedic slant to it. And people were losing their minds reading it. They said, this is unbelievably funny. You should memorize this and take it and do it at the Funny Bone. I'm like, no, you've lost your mind.
Yeah, I'm not reading freaking Nightmare.
Not doing this at
Night
the
Before Christmas.
Like, you crazy.
Yeah.
So they talked me into doing it. I went. There were 17 acts. It was on an open mic night. 17 acts. My first time on stage, I won.
Ooh,
Really?
Reading that? Reading your rendition of it?
Huh?
Reading your rendition of the Night Before Christmas? You did that in the act?
Yeah, I didn't read it. I memorized it.
Right.
Memorized it. Okay.
Do you
I
still
just
have
went there,
that somewhere?
And I just did it. And
I
Yeah,
said, do you
do you
still
have it?
have that somewhere?
oh gosh, I found some old notes about 5 years ago, but the ink was so old. It was just like, I can't
Oh,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah, but it was something to the effect of, it was, I think the setup was there was a guy who got assaulted in his home, and then home was robbed. It was a home invasion.
It's going great so far.
Oh yeah, great comedy, right?
Yeah.
So they rushed him to the hospital. He lapsed into a coma, but he came out of the coma a month later, and they said, "Sir, can you tell us what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Who did this to you?" And he goes, 'twas the night before Christmas. And it just goes on, and all through the, let's see, 'twas the night before Christmas, and all through the crib, not a creature was stirring, except on some ribs. The sweat socks were hung by the toilet with pride, to see whether or not that mama had lied. And I can't remember the rest of it.
That is awesome.
The reaction while I was doing it.
I like the direction.
And,
that's pretty funny.
It was fun. It was fun. And I started thinking, well, maybe I might be able to do something, right? And then I went and I did it again. And Tommy Davidson from a show called In Living Color.
Oh, you're very familiar with that.
His people reached out to me in April of 2000. So I'd been doing it for 3 months. 3 months in, and I get that kind of call. And I went and I did a show with Tommy Davidson. I think it was that May, the next month after they called me. And I've been a comedy junkie, just like I've been a God junkie. And those two avenues didn't always meet in the way that they should. But once my heart got into what I needed to be for the Lord, and I could see the way he has blessed me in my life with health and opportunities, I said, you know what, I'm going to do this, not necessarily in a non-secular way, but I'm going to do it clean.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it clean. My parents brought me up that way. You know, I had a daughter, and I said, no, I need her seeing. And I was mentoring guys. I was mentoring young men, and I was an AAU basketball coach. And I said, nope, I can't do it that way. So I started doing it clean. And believe it or not, I was the 5-leaf clover.
Yeah.
That guy that Catch a Rising Star can call. And because I was clean, I got a chance to open for Adam Sandler, for Sinbad, for George Wallace, and did other just national phenomenal acts. And it was all because I could be clean and funny. And then came other opportunities, like corporate opportunities. I'm the comedian for the St. Louis Cardinals. I do their Christmas parties.
I saw your commercial too.
Oh, isn't that the stupidest commercial? Isn't that the stupidest thing you've ever seen?
It was very interesting. I didn't show it to you yet.
It's clever.
Yeah. Okay. So you saw it.
Yeah. Clever is what counts. Clever sells.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But so
we're definitely going to put up a little clip of that.
On the run, I'll be waiting for you. Call 6. It's a serious number. 25-cent drinks all day. Your pick when the cards come out and play. Score 6.
yeah, I'm totally fascinated with the idea that you just kind of hit upon is that you didn't go after the Christian market necessarily. You went being a clean comic in the secular market to be the guy who was different than everybody else, and even marketed yourself way that is something that I think for a lot of especially Christian entertainers is something that seems insurmountable, because we feel like as soon as I say that I'm a Christian, or as soon as I say that I'm clean or whatever, then we're going to get tagged or labeled or downgraded. And not only has that not happened to you, but you've been incredibly successful musically and through the comedy with it.
Is there such a thing as the opposite of that? Like where there's comedians that go like, I'm the dirtiest comedian.
Well, I think Sam Kinison was probably in that. I mean, he talked in his act.
That's a good point.
Yeah, like extensively about that stuff. But that was the
I'm
reason.
just saying like guys trying to market themselves. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Kinison makes sense.
And
I think so because sometimes people will have shows that will say bad boys of comedy.
right.
Yeah.
As this, that, and the other. So they're trying to appeal to someone from a ticket selling standpoint. They want to put people in the seats, and it'll do it. It's what Shaquille O'Neal does with his comedy, and every 100% of them are just horrible. Here's a story for you. 2012, I'm walking in the mall and just minding my own business, and this lady walks up to me. She goes, "Hey, aren't you a comedian?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Well, these guys back here, they noticed you and they want to ask you a question." I'm like, "Well, what guys?" And all of a sudden, there's like 4 guys were coming up to me, these big black dudes. I'm like, "Okay, I'm big. What's going on?" So they said, "Hey, our boss wants to talk to you." I'm standing there in the middle of the mall, in front of the pretzel place, and Katt Williams walks up to me.
Oh no way!
I'm serious. I'm just saying. I promise on a stack of neck bone. Katt Williams walks up to me and he goes, You a comedian?
Yes. I was going to say, please do an impression.
I said, and sometimes I'll tell this story on stage, but I tell it when I do the Katt Williams part. I get on my knees and I do the voice.
Great.
So he goes, he said, you a comedian? I said, yeah. Well, we seen you online. We doing a show on Thanksgiving night at the Chavits. Okay, so it's the Chavits Arenas here in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
You 7 minutes? Can you do 7 minutes in front of me? $400, 7 minutes, 400, 7 minutes, 400. I said, oh man, it'd be kind of cool, man. It'd be cool. So still got his number. Went home, talked to my wife, and she said, no, that's not for you.
Yeah.
That's not who you perform for. That's not what you're not what his audience wants to see. I said, baby, I know that I could be a light in a dark place and I will kill it. I promise you I will kill it. She said, but do you want to be in that environment? I said, well, Jesus ate with sinners, thieves. I said, I can do this, but I slept on it. And I woke up and it wasn't resting well in my spirit. So he wanted me to call him the next day at 3:00. Okay, this is like 2 days before the event.
Right.
So I called him and first time I didn't get an answer. Second time, I didn't get an answer. Third time, I got an answer. And he goes, talk. I said, okay. I said, listen, man, this is David Graham, the guy you met. Just wanted to tell you, man, I appreciate you asking me about the show, but I don't think I'm going to do it. You ain't going to do the show? You ain't going to do the show? I said, no, I'm not going to be able to. He turns around and goes, this blankety blank ain't going to do the show. I can't believe you ain't about to. I said, no, I just don't think that. And that's all I got. And he hung up and was gone.
Dang.
Huh.
Yeah. So it was a short time talking to a short guy. Mm-hmm. That would be short-lived. Okay. So it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me.
It sounds like he was very busy filming Norbit.
But yeah, man, this has been a great ride for me. You know, starting out, it was really challenging. I had to, first of all, God gave me the right wife. You know, the Bible says that the man who finds a wife finds a good thing. I found a great thing. She supported me. She didn't see me do comedy until a year into our marriage, 21 years married now, praise God. And she said, she saw me do comedy the first time. She goes, all she could muster was one word. She goes, honey.
Oh, that's awesome.
Honey. And I said, what? She goes, you know what? You could probably do this if you wanted to. And I said, well, yeah. 6 months later, I was laid off. Mm. And between then and the layoff, I probably got between 15 and 18 calls to come and perform different places around town. And so now I've got a local following.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is that when people come to see you and you've got a total of 25 minutes of material, you can't do the same thing every time. It forced me to grow. So after 3 months, I've got an hour. I've got a full hour stuffed and it's fresh. It's A material. People like it. It's interactive. And started doing this thing. But I was laid off and I was scared to get out there on my own, prayed about it. My wife and I prayed and we got out there and I made about $13,000 a year.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when you go through that involuntary fast.
Yeah. Hot dog water.
You don't mean to fast, but you're fasted anyway. And she told me
you wash the chicken in the sink and drink the water.
Yeah.
No,
Thank you. Thank you. You ever have water with cornflakes? Anyway, that's another story. But it was incredibly tough. I still had other obligations, house, 2 cars. So it was tough, but you learn from the tough times. You know, by His stripes we are healed. Through adversity we become stronger. And it was a situation where I realized that my challenges were my blessing, because I always believed that a straight road puts the driver to sleep. Mm-hmm. If everything is smooth, you won't, your attention will not be galvanized. You won't be forced into an area to pay attention, perform, or to just be vigilant. So people.
What if you have a Tesla?
I can't afford a Tesla. I can't even spell.
I can't either. I can't either. I'm with you.
But I've been blessed, man. I've been blessed, but and it took a while to really make a living at it. Now, those bumps and bruises allowed me to meet Jeremy, allowed me to meet other guys, and now I'm making more than a living. And but the thing about it is the reason that I think I'm doing well is because I keep God in the center. I don't chase money. I look at Deuteronomy 8:18. It says, "Remember the Lord thy God, for it is He that has allowed you to obtain wealth."
Yep.
It's more than just money. Wealth is your health. Wealth is your family. Wealth are the things that are around you that keep you and allow me to be the best me possible.
I think that's not just an incredible testimony of what God has brought you through, but also I think it's a really great signpost for other people that are in the same boat. I mean, we've touched on how COVID has rocked the world, especially, I mean, the first 2 months we had from the United States point, we had the quick stimulus and there were a lot of things that were there to sustain us. But over the last 8, we've had a lot of people that are in the same boat that have been laid off from their jobs, that are looking for what's next. What piece of advice would you give to somebody who is, they're working for a temp agency, or they've got, a second gig that they've had to pick up, but that they really they've got something in their heart that they want to do something, whether it's comedy, whether it's music, whatever. What advice would you give those people that are right now trying to make that decision? Is this the time for me to pursue my dreams, or do I need to really buckle down and try to sort out the money stuff? What would you say to them?
I think you can do both. And the reason I say that is because if you really put your faith in God and not just say you put your faith in God, if you jump off the diving board into the deep end of the pool, okay, there's no jumping back. You put your faith in God and you allow yourself to be cemented in that, okay, that will allow you sustainability. God will give you what you need, okay? He may give you a smaller apartment, okay, that you could actually afford better, okay? But understand, anybody that's listening, the world has slowed down and you can get the world's attention right now better than you ever could before. This is an opportunity for you to launch whatever it is that you are to launch. A lot of people aren't thinking this way. They're in only survival mode. But those of us who have faith know that there's something over the horizon, and this train called life is still moving down the track. You're going to get to that point. Have faith in what you do. Just pray and ask God to give you the direction that you need for your sustainability in life, meeting your obligations, bills, or whatever. Take on a roommate, do whatever it takes, but pursue your dream. What I'm doing now with this.
Yeah, I want to get into that too.
Yeah,
virtuallyfunny.live. We've been talking a lot of the faith aspects of branching out. This was a scary thing to do, guys, to go from, I was a project manager for WorldCom, and I was making really good money, but I got laid off as a financial consultant with Boeing. I got laid off as a project manager with WorldCom. This was hard to do. My wife said, go and show the world your comedy. You are the funniest person I've ever seen on television or otherwise. Go and show the world your comedy. And I said to God, this has got to be the right woman, or she wants to spend more time with her boyfriend. Those two things have got to be in place. So here we are, 18 years into a full-time comedy career. And get this, I've got guys that are friends of mine that are 25, 28 years in, and they're having a hard time, even without COVID, filling their calendars. Really, really hard filling their calendars. They've got this agency, that agency, this agent. I fired every agent that I ever had because one reason or another. And people ask, how do you stay so busy? God is my agent. God directs me into the places that God tells me when to say no. Yeah. God directs me in places where I should go. And 65% of my business is repeat business. People that want me to come back again and do shows. I do birthday parties. I do retirement parties for people. I do backyard parties. I do all kinds of things. I do corporate stuff. I'm even a motivational speaker. I have a foray called Making Excellence a Habit. And I make it funny because you retain more information when your brain is at a relaxed, enjoyable state. That's why we remember movie lines from 30 years ago. That's why we remember jokes that we were told in grade school. You remember those things before you remember what you were forced to remember out of a textbook. So that's the strategy that I take into my motivational forays. Now, I also do corporate comedy. I do cruise ships, churches. I love the non-secular presentations. I call those "Don't Get Caught with Your Praise Down." and it's about being a new Christian. It's about finding yourself. And it's a lot of fun. And people really get into it because we get people that come into churches who never would go to a church, but there's a comedy show.
Right.
There's a guy from Comedy Central who's doing a comedy show. Let's go check this guy out. And they come in and they are so glad, but we don't just leave it at comedy.
Yeah.
We give them some Jesus. And I come out of Romans chapter 10, verse 9 and 10, where it says, if you confess the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. For with the mouth confession is made to salvation. From the heart, man believes unto salvation. And here we are at a point where this thing is serving as an outreach now. And that's why I call my business leg, I call it outreach entertainment. Whenever somebody books me and we do a contract, I don't like that word, we call it performance agreement. The header is outreach entertainment. And that's what it's about for me.
Man, that's awesome. I could completely see from some of the answers that you've given us the motivational speaking aspect of what you're doing, because especially with the answer previous to this one, I was getting a little fired up. I'm like, we should start something new. We need to do. I was like, oh, we're in the middle of it.
We should start an LLC.
We need. Okay, no, we're kind of doing some of this.
We need some startup capital first.
So bass player, basketball coach. Motivational speaker, doing all kinds of different gigs. It seems like you've been able to pivot in a lot of different areas, and that God has just blessed you whenever you've been obedient and opened up the doors for those things. What is it that you're doing now with virtuallyfunny.live that is really that's setting you apart? Because we've had the amazing opportunity to interview a half dozen comedians within the past couple of months, and every one of them to a person has said either that they don't do Zoom or that Zoom comedy is like a slow death. And yet here you are, that you are not only doing it, but now you're marketing yourself as somebody that can do this.
And you and I were talking the other night, and I was laughing hysterically because it's different. I want to hear your how you explain it. It's different than just doing regular stand-up to a corporate gig or something.
Yeah.
You actually want to customize comedy to a family.
Yeah. How cool would it be?
It would be awesome.
Somebody just to say, listen, this is what I want to do. It's my wife's birthday, or it's just a Saturday night and we don't have anything planned. I'm going to surprise her. We're going to get the kids. We're going to get everybody, in that COVID friendly circle.
Right.
We're going to get everybody. Boom. But what I've done is I've had people to surprise their family members. Okay. Mm-hmm. But prior to the actual event, I've taken notes. I know the wife's favorite song. I know this about their oldest son. I know that their daughter loves chemistry. I know that their youngest child is a piano whiz, this kind of thing. And I package all of that. And depending on where they are, if they're from Wisconsin, I'm going to talk about the Packers. I'm going to talk about the Brewers, these kind of things. And I package it, but I want to know something about their local community. I want to know about their grocery store. I want to know about the schools that they go to. Hey, you guys play for the Panthers? I heard you guys, you're 0-10 last year, that kind of thing. So it's so personal to them. And this guy who's been on Comedy Central, this professional comic, is in their living room talking to them about them and having a rip-roaring good time. And it was a great surprise for families. Also a great surprise for corporate. This is hilarious. About a month ago, did a show, and the lady, my contact, she said, well, they don't know that it's good. I said, well, don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Yes, this is what I like.
The Zoom call. I'm just going to pop onto the Zoom call, and they were talking, so, and they're talking about things that relate to business before the actual Zoom officially got started. And then she goes, we've already worked this out. And she goes, excuse me, sir, looks like your name is David, because this is my wife's computer on right now. Your name is David. I said, yeah, David, can we help you? This ain't the Jenkins family reunion? Yeah, this is the Zoom number 2268, right? They said this is the Jenkins family reunion. Now, I don't understand all the Zoom stuff. I just got out. So I'm trying to understand why, we got to be talking all like this. But I don't know none of y'all. Y'all, yeah, and then it went so far. And then one guy goes, see, he didn't think I could hear. He goes, see, this is why we don't do Zoom. This is why I can't stand Zoom. You never know. You never know what you're going to get. Who that talking? And it was fantastic. And then my contact goes into, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boom, boom.
Yeah. You let him off the hook.
He's been on Comedy Central. He's worked with Chris Rock, Adam Sandler. He just got off tour with Kevin Hart, bam, bam, bam. David Graham. I'm saying, I got you guys. Now we're off and running.
Yeah.
Thing is funny. If I belch, they're laughing at that. We're just having a great time.
See,
and it's just a matter of just catching people by surprise and then just being creative.
See, I wanna do something similarly to this. I want to have you come on a family Zoom call where we're all touching base.
Oh yeah.
And you could say, this is the pitch, and you could say, I'm my grandfather passed away 10 years ago or so. You could say, yeah, I'm an old friend of Les, or something. Or
that's the kind of stuff we work out. That's exactly what
that'd be great.
And then if anyone, we would have worked out in advance. And I know this is really in depth, but if anyone has, objects, you go, no, listen, Aunt Dawn, you know me. You have been screwing up your deviled eggs at Thanksgiving for 3 years. You could have all this stuff and just watch the chaos. Because I'm all about the chaos.
I think that would be brilliant.
And then you let them in on it, and you get to do some comedy. But
oh man,
I already texted my mom this morning to see if she wants to do a family.
She'd be in. Hey, you know what? I'm in for half. If you guys can pull that off, I'm in for half. Ben, it's been so crazy talking to you about the different pivots in your career and what you're doing now, just the creative nature of all of it. I mean, Lionel Richie impersonations, everybody does Elvis, right? Mm-hmm. I never think of, and down in Texas, we've got all these crazy like country tribute bands. A lot of people that are doing like Tom Petty or the Red Hot Chili Peppers, all these rock groups. I never thought of Lionel Richie as a guy to tribute, and yet every
Michael
song,
Jackson is a gimme.
Yeah, Michael Jackson's a gimme. But every song you're talking about, like I'm singing, I'm humming it in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I know all of that stuff. You've done the comedy. You're now doing this stuff. Your career, it sounds like, has just been absolutely incredible. If you could narrow it down to one moment, what do you think of everything that you've done? What is the moment that you cherish the most in your career so far?
It's not even close. It happened last October 22nd. That was my it was October 22nd of 2019.
Okay. Was
my wife and I, my 20th anniversary, right? And I was performing on the Norwegian Joy. We were doing 2 weeks going through the Mexican Riviera, right? So I'm headlining the ship, 4,400 people, passengers on the ship. And all of my shows are sold out. After the first night, people just start booking the book. You couldn't get a ticket, couldn't get a seat. And I've got pictures that I'm going to put on the new website, virtuallyfunny.live.
Yeah.
And
we'll also put the link in the comments.
Okay.
We'll put it everywhere.
Also, I'm going to put the pictures of the lines that people, were in just to see the show. And it's not an ego thing. It's like, wow, to have the people appreciate you like that. So my wife and I, it's our anniversary night, we want to take some pictures, okay? And when I say this is by far the greatest moment of my career, it is. We're standing in line to take some pictures, and there are these cruise ship officials. They're in their little uniforms and everything. They're all official and everything. One is standing about 10 feet from me. A couple approaches him, a husband and wife approach him, and I can hear the conversation. And the man goes, "Excuse me, sir, we'd like to talk to you about getting comedy tickets." Everybody at the pool, everybody in the dining halls, everybody's talking about this guy, David Graham. They're saying you got to see him. If you don't see him on this cruise, it's almost worth booking another cruise so you can get a chance to see this comedian.
Wow.
And I'm like, he's right over my right shoulder, this husband, about 8 feet from my right shoulder. And I am literally goosebumped all over. I'm like, wow.
That's awesome.
So I turned and I said, "Excuse me, I didn't want to just pry into your conversation, but I'm David Graham. And I want you guys to be my special guests tomorrow night at 8:00. We're going to put some special chairs out just for you and your wife." And they came. And I was going back and forth with them throughout the show. And it was fantastic. One of the most rewarding times ever. And the wife is just, she's holding back tears. And at first the husband's like, "Right, you're the guy. You're really the guy, whatever. And you have to wear, if you work on the ship, you have to wear identifying badge." And I just turned and I showed it to him, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, really?" So
he was like, "You're not that funny."
I know, right? I'm funny looking.
Yeah, you haven't been funny this whole conversation. Tell me a joke.
You want a joke? Let's see.
No.
I was saying that's what I was doing an improv of the conversation where never mind. It was stupid. We're gonna have to cut this.
Comedy's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, continue with your story. So the wife's holding back tears. You show the husband your name tag. Yeah. And then
it was just a great moment. My wife was wondering who am I talking to, and I told her, I said, "Come over here, baby. These people they want to come see the show." And she's like, "Well, there's no more tickets." I said, "We're going to make room for them." And they came. And it was just it was just one of the coolest moments in my career. I'd say the absolute pinnacle moment of my career. And I've had some great times on stage, incredible times on stage, incredible times, hanging out with different comics that I've seen on television. Got a call from the Heisman Trophy Association to come and do it for them. And I did it 2 years in a row. They liked me so much the first year, they brought me back a second year. And we had a great time. So I've had high moments, but that one was the most important to me.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I mean, you're on a cruise ship. You're with your wife. It's a special day for y'all. You get to do something for somebody else. Yeah, that's pretty incredible, man.
And it sounds like you've actually had some really great opportunities being a clean comic that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So that's fantastic.
Amen to that. I performed in Mount Rushmore. Just so many different places. And being clean has gotten me into some doors, like with the Cardinals and things of that nature. But you mentioned Thanksgiving, and I tell my audiences I love the holidays.
Yeah.
So we went to my mother-in-law's house this past Thanksgiving, right? And my mother-in-law, she's so mad at me. She got so mad at me. She's mad at me right now, right? I mean, she is mad as a Klansman watching the Huxtables. This lady is hot mad at me. I'm gonna tell you right now. What happened was I used 2 of her wigs to take the cornbread out the oven. Everything is better, but she smells like Jiffy every place she goes. But it's stuff like that I think kind of ingratiates me in the hearts of some people, because I'll do I'll never forget. I do a certain bit that got me an audition for Saturday Night Live. I was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, about 12 years ago, and it was my second time being in Grand Rapids. And there was a guy after my show, one of the shows. I didn't do this particular bit on this show, right? And I'll just tell you the bit. The bit, it's.
Can I guess?
It's
Can I guess?
No.
Go ahead.
David has already learned shut down
Can you
Danley.
guess? No, you've had the Cliff Notes, so
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The bit is Forrest Gump if he was from the hood.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
People lose their minds. I got an audition for Saturday Night Live based on this in 2003, right? So I would do it in my shows, right? And I didn't do it this one show. This guy this is my second time in the city. This guy comes to me and he's got like a throng of people with him. He comes to me, he goes, dude, what happened to Forrest Gump? What happened to Forrest Gump? My wife and I, we came to see you last year. I brought my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, this is my mom, my dad, this is my brother. I told him about the Forrest Gump thing. He didn't do the Forrest Gump thing. I'm like, oh man. So I had all my DVDs right there that I was selling after the show. I just handed him a DVD, man. I said, man, go home and enjoy it. You know, give me your address. I'll come over tomorrow. I'll do it in your living room. I'll do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where people, when they appreciate you, they really, really do. And they know that it was cool to bring their parents, you know, that there's nothing that's going to be said or done that nobody will be ashamed of. So I am happy as Ray Charles at night school. That's
got to be an amazing thing when you have, you've got a mom, a dad, their kids, the grandparents, where you can span generationally. Everybody can go, because there's so many like obstacles to doing anything together, especially when it's, you can't all go to a movie because we don't all like the same movies. You can't all do this because, grandmother and granddad got to get in bed by, a certain hour or whatever. But to have somebody that they can go see that is funny generationally, can cross all those lines, but also that's enjoyable for everyone. It is a bit of a brain break and a time to relax. That's what comedy is supposed to be, and you've done it successfully for the last 2 decades, and are continuing to do it. That's pretty incredible, man.
Yeah.
I can't say it enough. Glory, glory, glory to God. I've had, situations. And the thing is that since this pandemic, I have written 2 full hours of brand new comedy. And I'm going to be so excited to get out there and put this out there. But these Zoom calls allow me to do this. And the reason that I'm doing the whole virtual launch is because gig workers are really suffering. You can't, crowds can't gather. So the guys one of my best friends from Columbus, Ohio, a guy named Keith Bender, phenomenal comic. He has birthed a power washing business. And I've got people that want me to come do some shows in Southern Missouri, and they're paying really good money. And I did a show and they said, well, can you come back next month? I said, I want to give you a different personality. So I said, let me bring my friend Keith. I called Keith and he said, man, my power washing business is going so good. I can't really take time out to do comedy. And it's like, wow. And he's one of the lucky ones. He's blessed because he's found something. There are guys who are starving. There are guys who are evicted. There are guys who are suicidal. There are guys who are just resort to different things to appease themselves that they normally wouldn't do. And I'm extremely blessed to do that. But I just got notified that they are going to suspend all cruising. That's my main thrust.
Right.
They're going to suspend all cruising for the foreseeable future. And I said, okay, God, what are we going to do? God said, you're going to reinvent yourself. You're too gifted, you're too relevant, and your medical testimony is far, far beyond being ignored. You share those things. I share some of the things on stage. March 29th of 2019, they didn't expect me to live through the night. They told my wife that I would probably never see another sunrise. Okay. But here I am. Yeah. I'll give you the Cliff Notes. had cancer, diagnosed with cancer February 15th, 2019, had the surgery on March 20th. Everything's gone. Doctor called me March 25th. Your cancer is gone, completely done. You're good. You don't have to have radiation or chemo. You're good. I said, praise the Lord.
No kidding.
Wow.
The next day, I'm walking in our bedroom suite and I lose all control of my limbs. I can't walk. I can't feel. I can't move my arms. Turns out I had what's called a cardio infarction. I had a bilateral pulmonary embolism.
Okay.
Two blood clots passed through my heart, go to my lung, and tried to choke me out.
Dang.
They took me to the hospital the next day because I didn't want to be moved. I had one the next morning, another one. Both of them, doctor said, should have killed me. I shouldn't have lived through either one of them. But I get to the hospital and I'm laying there for 3 days until Friday. You don't survive these things if you fall asleep. I'm taking naps. I go to sleep Wednesday. I go to sleep Thursday. Friday, they've done these tests on me and they determined that, wait a minute, they did 2 CTs on me. The second one was called an organic. That's where they saw the blood clots. And it just so happened they had to do a procedure where they shoot the blood thinner in, but they had to keep it from going anywhere else outside my cardio area because I was still bleeding from my cancer surgery, not to get gross.
Right.
I would have bled out in a matter of hours. So they had to somehow curtail all of this into my cardio area. There's a guy in Europe that happened to invent exactly that procedure. He's from Europe. His name is Andre Strimbos. The man is phenomenal. That night, Friday night, March 29th, 2019, he happened to be in the United States, fellas.
No way.
You ready for God to show up?
Come on, baby.
To be in St. Louis, Missouri that day. He happened to be at my hospital. He did the procedure. That's why I'm alive.
Oh my gosh.
So God told me, you have too big a testimony. I don't do this entire testimony on stage.
Right.
I get a chance to visit with a lot of people in the common areas. And people are there to save their marriage. People are there to find themselves or to rediscover something. And I tell them, I said, have you tried the Lord? Because he loves you more than you can love yourself. And it's something that God told me I had more work to do. So with reinventing myself and with don't get caught with your praise down, I have another show that I call, it's all about family and crazy family members. I call it Relatively Speaking. It's a lot of fun. It's about, for example, when I was little, my father told us the ice cream man plays music when he's out of ice cream.
Yeah, that'll go over good with the kids.
Okay. Okay, so it's something that you can really kind of sink your teeth into. And I know that I have a purpose, and I know that God wants me out there because my pastor told me, he said, as a comedian and as a former athlete, you can go into social circles that I cannot. Mm-hmm. Pastor, they won't accept me into the little talking circles at the gym. You could walk up to a bunch of guys over at the bench press and you can share with them and inspire them. And that's what I've been doing, and that's what God has blessed me to do. And now that's what he has implored me to do. Through comedy and just through being a big mouth and being gregarious and loving to meet people. And here we are.
Actually, the gym is a pretty good place to witness to people because especially if they're on the bench press and that bar comes down, I mean, you've got them.
That's right. You
captive
get a lot
audience.
of testifying on the bench
press.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you for so much for coming on. We do like to do something at towards the end. We're just going to do some lightning fire questions. So the first thing that comes to your head, shoot it out. And we'll go from there. You ready?
All right. Shoot.
We'll do 5? How many
Let's do 5.
Right,
let's do 5.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, of course, it just locked.
If he can keep his document pulled up, we'll do 5 questions.
What is a body part you wouldn't mind losing?
My brain.
What is the most useless talent you have?
Cooking bacon.
Ooh, I don't know. That's a pretty significant talent.
That's a pretty good talent.
Yeah,
but
man.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. I guess it's not useless, but yeah.
Where is the worst smelling place you've ever been?
Garden City, Kansas.
Were you doing a show there?
Yeah, they have 7. What do you call the? They have 7 meat processing plants.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
And it's only a population of about 25,000 people, so the city's not that big. Garden City, Kansas. Yeah, and the thing is, when you drive there, you're in the car. You don't really. When you get to the hotel, you open your door and it's like, what in the world?
Yeah.
What is that? So my first 5 minutes on stage was about that.
Dang, Garden City, Kansas, off the bucket list.
Okay, if you were given a 1-minute ad slot during the Super Bowl, what would you fill it with? It's a tough question.
It's a tough question. I would fill it with. Basketball stories.
Okay.
Like what?
Like the time I dunked on Dennis Rodman in 1980.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Forget
We
the
can
other
talk about
questions.
Yeah.
This is the only one.
Okay,
Tell me about the time you
tell us
dunked on
that
Dennis
story.
Rodman.
Okay, it's my senior year. It's Dennis Rodman. It's Dennis's sophomore year, okay? He got kicked out of a junior college in Texas, and then he and I are the exact same age.
Yeah.
He got kicked out of a junior college, and he spent 2 years just wondering. His mother kicked him out of the house, and I went to Oklahoma Baptist University, right? And I'm running all the camps that summer of '83. I'm running all the camps, and the head coach, Bob Banfield, comes to me. He says, "You hear about Southeastern?" I said, "What?" "They got this kid, Rodman." I said, "Rodman? You ever seen the girls team at Louisiana Tech, Deborah Rodman, 6'3" girl, averaging 35? Yeah, this is her brother. He's 6'8" and can outrun anybody that plays this game."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'm an All-American. Bring it on. I had no idea. I had no idea that he was as good as he was. So we made the mistake of playing him in a man-to-man. And I will tell you, I held Dennis Rodman, ladies and gentlemen, I held Dennis Rodman to 29 points and 28 rebounds. That's right. Held him down.
Great job.
He was not getting 29 rebounds. He was not getting 29. But the second time we played him in a zone, and he was probably everybody's All-American by then.
Yeah.
He hadn't even been playing college ball that long. And I got the ball at the free throw line at the high post, turned around, faked like I was going to jump shoot it. The guy, Harold Spivey, that was guarding me, jumped. I went around him. Rodman came over to help, but I was already airborne. Then he jumped. Our chests collided in midair, and I just threw it in with 2 hands as hard as I could. It should have been an and one, but the referee didn't call a foul. But I knew I had just dunked on everybody's All-American. And when I would dunk on somebody, I would run back down the court backwards so I can look you in the eye.
Right.
Just did, right?
Yeah.
I was looking Dennis in the eye, and guys, I'm not going to kid you. Not 8 seconds went off the clock before I was wearing his navel. He dunked right back on me, and
he got
it was
you back.
so violent. I couldn't tell if he did it one hand or two hand because he was way over my head like this, and it was. I knew it was bad when after the dunk I turned and my teammates on the bench were losing it. They were just losing their minds. Right? I'll say, "Oh, that must have been bad. It had to be bad." But yeah, I dunked on Dennis, and he returned the favor. And I knew he was going to be good, but I had no idea that I was playing against a Hall of Famer.
Did he have all the jewelry and stuff at this point? Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
It was interesting that we were expecting a big snowstorm. It was about a 2.5 hour drive down to Durant, Oklahoma, where Southeastern is from Shawnee. So we left about 3 4 hours early. Okay, the storm never came, so we got there about 4 hours early. So we went to the student union, to maybe get a bite and maybe play some video games. And they call him Worm, called Dennis Worm, because he used to play Miss Pac-Man, and when he would play it, he would do his body like that. Dennis was on the Pac-Man machine, but he remembered me from the game that we played before. And we started talking, and we played Pac-Man for about an hour and went back to his room and listened to some music, and then went and played the game. They beat us again, but we went and we played the game. So he was completely normal. I mean, his conversation was normal. He talked about family. He talked about how happy he is to be doing what he loves and all that. And to see him go the way that he went was kind of shocking.
To see him become the ambassador to North Korea,
Dang it. That was gonna be my last question. If you got the chance,
was the ambassador to Southeast Oklahoma.
If you got the chance to go to North Korea and be Kim Jong-un's best friend, what would you do?
What would you do?
That's the fifth question.
I would stay home.
Me
That's a
too.
safe answer. Well, hey man,
David
Graham, thank you so much. Make sure that you check out virtuallyfunny.live,
cleancomedyguy.com.
Yeah, there it is.
That's the main one.
David freaking Graham.
Yeah, David Graham.
That was
so many unexpected twists and turns in that one.
There's so much that I feel like we didn't get to, because so many of the comedians that we interview, we've got these highs and lows, these funny things, and he kept telling us in the post interview, he was like, we didn't laugh a lot.
Yeah,
I felt like we laughed the entire time.
Me too.
But there were some really phenomenal, genuine moments with him that were very unexpected.
Well, and the reason I really wanted to talk to him, of course, was because he's funny.
Right.
But I was interested in, I like the guy that referred us to him.
Right, Jeremy Nunez.
He's got a great story, so I wanted to hear the story too, and that's not going to be hysterical the whole time.
No, I was not expecting his testimony.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Almost dying and
then the right doctor
being
and
there.
I think the timeline there is about a month and a half from diagnosis to cancer removal to you're about to die, preparing his wife that he's not going to make it
for a carpal tunnel
operation.
infarction. I think is what it was.
Not even close.
It was a cardiac infarction, I'm pretty sure.
Closer. Thanks for paying so much attention to David.
Well, let's just cut this part out. I like that I always say that and you never cut it out.
No, because people need to know what they just.
This is me. It's me.
So the testimony of itself was really incredible. Getting to hear his story, and then the way that he uses his comedy, I think is phenomenal. That he uses it in order to give his testimony, uses it as a message, but that he's not going specifically for the Christian market or a general market or whatever. That he is going to go where
he's being
feels
true
like
to his calling.
Yeah, and how about turning down an opportunity to open for Katt Williams?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's
like, what would the equivalent be for you?
I don't know. That's what I was going to say. It's hard to wrap my mind around that. Maybe playing with Slash or Guns N' Roses or something.
So you're talking about an arena.
And Katt Williams is pretty graphic and
20,000 seats. They've asked you to open for him. They tell you get 2 songs.
The whole time he was saying, of how it went, I was going, I wouldn't have done that. I would have opened.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. My wife says no, and be like, honey, you don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up.
Whatever.
You don't know. You don't know this guy. Yeah, he's about this tall. He's going to chew on my knees.
I can't imagine the courage that it took to do that, and to be able to not just tell that story about what it was like, but to have
First
that
off,
as
it's a hysterical story.
Yeah, but also to have that as a benchmark of this is how I knew that God was with me through these things, because it gave me the courage and the strength to not do and not take advantage of opportunities that wouldn't have served me in a way that it continues to give integrity to my testimony, I think maybe is the best way to put it. That was really cool. He was genuinely funny. It's interesting to me, all of the different pivots that he's taken. And I wanted to, as a bass player, I can relate to some of that, because for you guys, for guitar players, if you do one thing really well, you can continue to do it. You can be a rock guitarist and be.
I can play A really well.
Yeah, but you can be a rock guitarist and play in rock and roll bands from here until whenever you stop because you're great at that. As a bass player, everybody thinks that they can get a guitar player to play bass. We have to learn to be versatile. Whether we like different kinds of music or not, we're easily replaceable because guitar players are the faces of bands. It's not often bass players. And so bass players kind of get, moved in and out. And
if you are the face of a band, you probably shouldn't be like Flea.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Some of those situations.
Yeah.
But his whole thing about, he played an instrument and then he pivoted. He played basketball and then he pivoted. And
he dunked on Dennis Rodman.
He dunked on Dennis Rodman.
Pivoted.
But he also coached.
I can't believe we almost missed out on that
I
story.
know.
That was the last story that came at the last question.
Absolutely incredible.
Like, I dunked on Rodman. It's like, wait, what?
Yes, please start this over.
Forget everything else that I've been talking about with these stupid questions. Just tell me this story. And he did not disappoint.
Not at all.
But pivoting, I'm sorry.
I can't wait to get him back on. But yeah, he's especially for a guy that's established in the field of comedy, to be doing everything else that he's doing, to be taking advantage of, instead of looking at COVID-19 as something that's going to restrict him and then prevent him from being able to do what he wants to do. He's taking advantage of the opportunities that are afforded to him, trying to find new ways to be funny, to reinvent himself, and really, like he talked about, bringing joy to people. I mean, his favorite moment in comedy was to give two people that are on a cruise that were going to have free seats anyway, to pull two seats out on his anniversary to get to share that experience with him. I mean,
it's really cool.
You're talking about a very high character guy all the way across the board. It's just really neat.
Yeah. Also, working as a comic. I mean, I understand there's some people that and it's heartbreaking to hear that the cruise industry is taking a hit with COVID. But wouldn't that be a great way to spend a couple of years
just on a cruise ship?
On a cruise ship, working, telling jokes in the evening, and then
just hanging out.
Doesn't that sound awesome?
Yeah. Then in the middle of the day, you're like, "Hey, honey, I'm gonna go on the zip line."
She's like, "Again?"
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have anything else to do
every day for a year and a half. Enough with the zip line already. It's never enough.
I wonder if he's like seen all of the stuff. Right, because there's all the little excursions that they try to pitch you. Whenever you're on the cruise,
there's the 4-wheelers.
Yeah, the 4-wheelers.
There's the Jeep excursion, which I broke.
You can swim.
I did. I broke a Jeep.
You can swim with dolphins, right? All of that stuff. If there's just a certain point where he's like, there's a porpoise that's like Dave's porpoise.
Yeah,
like he comes up and he's like, "Hey, buddy." Yeah, whatever.
Here's your tuna. I don't know what they eat. Probably something smaller than tuna. Probably not big.
If you know what porpoises eat, please leave it in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching another episode of The Reverend and the Reprobate. David Graham, thanks again for coming on. Make sure you check out virtuallyfunny.live. What was the clean... I know he bills himself as American. CleanComedyGuy.com.
Yeah.
Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. All of those links are right here below this video. Like and subscribe. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see y'all next week. I'm pointing at your camera. Tomorrow.
Guys, this is David Graham, America's clean comedian. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, here's the reason that you should never listen to the Reverend and Reprobate show. Ever, 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 ever. The video just froze. Everything is frozen except my mouth. And that's the reason why.